Hey, BA fam. Ever need a few good words of encouragement while you're forging your own path? Of course you do. We all do. Well, we have a show for you, Good Words with Kirk Franklin. Yes, on this weekly podcast, Kirk Franklin invites guests from every walk of life into candid conversations exploring faith, comebacks, and the realities of today's world. These conversations are sure to inspire and empower you to push through your tough times, through shared moments, no matter how messy. Go on ahead and listen to Good Words with Kirk Franklin, hosted by none other than Kirk Franklin. Listen and follow wherever you get your podcasts. Hey, we're back. We're black. We're brown ambition.
We're the dream girls.
Ambition. Hey, Mandra, how are you?
Hey, Tiff. Good to see your pretty face on this Tuesday morning. It's different doing Brown Ambition at 10 a.m. versus usually we record in the afternoon. Yes. But, we shook it up this week. And I'm like,
you don't get this morning energy, which is not. First of all, I love the way the tips of your hair match your shirt. That looks really cute.
Thank you. I'm trying to hide the fact that I haven't done touch-ups on these highlights in over a year because I'm too cheap and lazy.
It's giving what the girls are doing now. I love the color.
A little ombre, a little fall hues. Yes. So both of us have been traveling a bit, starting to get back in these streets doing stuff. I went to DC for the Congressional Black Caucus I'd never been before.
Yeah, me either.
It was dope. It was like a real quick in and out, but it was magical. I mean, I got to moderate this panel for this organization called the Black Women's Health Imperative. They're like the oldest nonprofit in the country that focuses exclusively on Black women's health. Okay. And I thought it was such a cool opportunity because they're actually creating this whole framework called the Fair Work Initiative, which is basically like if you work for a company and you feel like they are just doing the least when it comes to actually creating like a less hostile environment for Black women to work, and you want to just like give them a nudge in the right direction, you can send them to the Fair Work Initiative website. And it's a database that like they basically partner with organizations to analyze the way that they operate, what resources they have, the happiness, the engagement of Black women, and then give them tools and resources to actually fix things. Okay. So this panel, it had Angela Rye, had the CEO of United Way, it had Charlene Wheeless, who's this executive leadership coach. It had Adjoa Asamosa. She is one of the co-founders of the Crown Act. She was on the panel. It was cool. And I had never moderated a panel before.
How did it go?
I got great feedback. It was fun. But you compartmentalize things. Yeah. And in order to like even get myself to a place where I could show up in DC, I had that big negotiating masterclass that I was doing. And I just had to focus all my energy on that. So I didn't have time to stress about the CBC. But yeah, when I got there, I just went with it. The crowd was great. It was really powerful, and it's a CBC. Like I never thought I would end up. I mean, it was just like melanin on 100, just beautiful. And I only got one day at the conference. So I did the panel, and then I got a chance to walk around. Okay. And I went to this huge expo hall, and of course they had like double dutchers and a fashion show. Yes! These incredible artists, and all these businesses. Meta had a huge, NASA was there, Twitter was there. I'm like, these businesses want to buy Black, okay?
Yes.
And it was beautiful to see, but I gravitated toward the middle where they had these Black women authors, and a lot of them were doing children's books. So I got Rio a bunch of cute little children's books, and I took the train back to New York, and it was a fun little trip.
No, I love that. That sounds amazing. So So the last couple of days I had to speak in Detroit, and so that was cool.
How'd that go?
It went really well. Honestly, my favorite part was I got to meet up with some of my mentees. Y'all know I have my mymentortiffany.com. And so about 20 of the mentees live in Detroit. So we all had dinner, and it was such a good time. Oh my gosh. We had such a good time. It was just nice. I don't know, maybe it's growing up with sisters. I just love hanging out with women, and so we had such a good time. Then I came back, and then it was Supergirl's birthday, her sweet 16.
That's right. She was talking about that at your screening. What was the vibe?
Oh, she was talking about
She was on the
Of course she was.
Yes.
And so But yeah, so if you honestly, I mean, it's up on my IG. You can see like some of her Sweet 16 pictures that Tanetta is taking. So if you see like our Brown Ambition pictures, a lot of my headshots, some of man, did you ever get headshots with Tanetta?
Yeah, she did my headshots that same day.
Okay, so like a lot of our headshots, Tanetta Bell, amazing Black woman who's a photographer. And she did Alyssa's like 16 photo shoot, and it's just, the pictures are just beautiful. And Alyssa is so beautiful. I'm like, when did you become this beautiful young woman? Girl. Yeah. She's got red hair. It's giving Black Ariel.
Halle Bailey. Yeah.
I know. And then the next day I had to fly out to California because my friend Yvonne Orji, she was celebrating this thing called Night of Nigerian Excellence. And it was also on Nigerian Independence Day. You know, they got their independence from the British.
Oh,
So that was really nice. It was nice to be in a room with like some amazing people, like the former CMO of Amazon. I didn't know she was Nigerian. You know,
Nigeria is synonymous with excellence, right? I mean,
yeah, it really.
I just feel like you don't get to be Nigerian America and not be incredible.
You gotta raise the bar. But I will say, I didn't realize some of the things I learned is that like Nigerians there are so many Nigerians. You know, 1 in 4 Black people is Nigerian because the population in Nigeria, it's so huge. I want to say it's 200 million. That's the population of Nigeria, and they haven't done a census since the 90s. 200 million people.
Wow.
And so when someone's like, "Do you know my friend who's Nigerian?" I'm like, "Girl, there's 200 million of us. I don't know." So that was excellent. And I literally got back yesterday. And then tomorrow I fly to New Orleans because my team and I, so every year, well, before COVID, we would go on like a vacation. We take the team. So the way we do it, this is just great for folks who have businesses, is that one year my business partner Jabril was like, "Oh, we should take the team on a trip." And we had to figure out how do we fund it. And so the way we fund it is that, you know, every month we make our gross revenue, and then we subtract all of our operating expenses and all the things we have to pay. But before we take out the taxes, we set aside, I want to say anywhere from 3 to 5%. I can't remember the number, but it's like 3 to 5%. I think I want to say like 3%. We put it in our travel bucket. And so every month we would kind of give an update. So they'd be like, woohoo. So we would update them on, here's what we made. Here's what we spent to make it. Here's how much is in your travel bucket. And then here's how much. We also have a bonus bucket, where it's like, okay, at the end of the year, this is where we're going to draw bonuses from. So they can get real clear, like the bonus bucket. And typically what we try to do is we try to say, March of last year, the bonus bucket was this. This year, it's this. That way, if you're thinking you're going to get the same bonus, less or more, you can kind of set your expectation otherwise. So
I see.
Anyway, because I remember one year the bonuses weren't as big, and they're like, "What happened?" And I realized that's my fault, because when's the last time I gave the bonus bucket update? And when's the last time I did the comparison? One year we had such an amazing year. The lowest bonus was $10,000.
Yeah.
And that was someone who was making, maybe 20,000 at this company. So like that was how, because the way the bonus bucket works is that we set aside the percentage, and then whatever percentage you earn from the payroll pot, that's the percentage you earn from the bonus bucket. So if your pay is 10% of our payroll, then you get 10% of the bonus bucket. So that's how we even that out, So it made it really like easy. And then it's so super transparent. So you're able to share all the numbers without sharing personal numbers. So not like, Tiffany, you're going to get, so you can kind of do your own math and be like, oh, okay, I should get around this much. So it worked really well, but the transparency part is key.
Setting expectations.
Yeah, so that way people can know like, oh, last year we did make way more money. This year's way less. So with the trip, we have not gone on a trip in so long. So we had almost $80,000 saved up. Because typically I want to say we have like 30 to 40,000, but we haven't gone anywhere, and we were still contributing to the trip bucket. And so I was like, let's go crazy. I told them, save some for next year, but let's use 60,000, like upwards of 60,000. And so we're doing all the things in NOLA. We always do a spa day. We always do some sort of like fun activity. Like, so we're going to do like a swamp tour. And we always
want to go on a swamp tour.
I know. And so it's really, first of all, then you get a choice. You get like the slow boat or like the speed boat. The girls is already like, girl, my wig. I want the slow boat. So I'm really, even though I'm tired, I'm super excited because it's like a family reunion of all these beautiful Black and brown women that you don't get to see normally because everyone works digitally. And so you walk in and you're like, oh, hey, Tamika. You're like, wait, I never see Tamika. And so you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So the first time you see someone, you're like, you're shorter than I thought, or you're taller than I thought. Yes.
Yes.
But it's going to be honestly, such an awesome time. And so, yeah, I'm just looking forward to that. But then I think next week after that, I have to go to Dallas for a speaking engagement and then Dubai with my sister for like
From Dallas to Dubai.
Child, when I tell you, I was like, who set this calendar? But honestly, November, December, who's checking for me? No one. I'm not doing it. If it's not on my calendar, which is next to nothing, the only thing on my calendar is Brown Ambition. If it's not on my calendar, it's not happening. November, December, I have shut down the calendar. Only what I love is in my normal, non-busy life, the only consistent thing that I have week after week is Brown Ambition. Like there's nothing on my calendar. There's no standing. I have Brown Ambition on Mondays. And that's when we tape typically. And I like that. Like, I don't want to start to fill up my calendar. I mean, I'm grateful for the fun things I get to do, but like, you know, I like the peace of like not doing too much.
Yeah. And not being like a slave to your calendar in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something that you said resonated with me. First of all, I also got to meet up with some Mandi moneymakers in the DMV and we had a little dinner and it was beautiful. And you know what I realized? I realized it during FinCon because I went to a speaking, like one of the sessions, and it was led by a white guy. And as he was talking, I was like, this is different. I haven't had to listen to a white man in like 2 years. I've literally had a moment where I was like, oh, they still make the same jokes. They still say you dig. No, but in all seriousness, and I know you had talked about it before, you know, because obviously Budget Needs to Inc. has always been for Black women, by Black women, all of it. Mm-hmm. But in my business, because I focus on helping women of color and because I have surrounded myself by other women of color entrepreneurs and because I'm being so true to this audience and I'm getting invited to places like the CBC. But even at the CBC, it's like, come to moderate this panel about Black women in the workplace and how it affects our health. And I just get the privilege. It's so healing. I feel like for all those years in corporate when I was like the only one or one of few, and I know so many of us out there feel the same way, and the power of like finding these spaces and getting to be in them so much that I'm like, oh, neat. Let's see what the cis white guys are up to these days and hear from them real quick. But then I get to go back and it's just beautiful and it's a privilege and it really is healing. So I feel like if you're someone out there who's craving that, find us, you know, even finding my mentor, Tiffany, finding the Mandi Moneymakers, just finding sisterhood wherever you can. Like, it's so healing. We need each other. Right.
We do. It's funny. I was talking to one of my in-person mentees yesterday, and it kind of came up where, I don't know if it's a question she asked or how it came up. She said, when you're looking for a mentor, Tiffany, for yourself, are you looking for someone who's making more money than you or someone who's been in business longer than you? Like, she was kind of trying to figure out, because as she gathers more mentors. And I said, if I had to choose one, hands down, it's like you only get this one thing from this mentor. Hands down, I much rather choose a mentor who's been in business longer than me. I don't care if I'm making $100 million a year, you know, and this mentor makes $2 million a year, but they've been in business 60 years. I would choose that. And she was like, really? I said, girl, anyone can hit a lick. That's what the kids say. I'm cool now. Meaning like anyone could get lucky and like, you know, like get a bag, you know, like, oh my gosh, like, you know, at the right moment, at the right time. So I know I have friends who've made millions of dollars during the pandemic because it was just the right moment in time. See them in 5 years. I don't know. You know, I pray that they continue to be successful, but there's so much nuance. Like I always mention my friend Cabral because he's one of my go-to.
I was just about to ask about Cabral, his mom.
Yeah, the real genius is Mama Denise. Okay, like Elegant Eyes has been in business, I think, over 60 years. His grandparents started it, then his mother took over, and then he and his sister. They have been through the Newark riots. They have lived through multiple recessions. They have lived through the pandemic. This is a brick and mortar with physical products, glasses, in its Black city, serving Black people, having real in-person employees, Like, I don't know that there's a harder business to be in. So there is nothing that Miss Denise has not seen, conquered, lived through, and is still here to tell the tale and profitable still. So even though, I mean, I don't know, obviously I can't count their paper. I don't know, how much they make, but let's just say I'm making way more, because I'm internet and my overhead is lower. I cannot compare myself to Miss Denise and her knowledge. There's literally times I'm like, bro, could you ask your mother what I should do about, And so, I mean, certainly there's things to learn from someone who's making a ton of money, obviously. But to me, like, I'm wanting to be here for a long time. And there are just some people who, like, I just can't imagine. Literally, there are scenarios that I will share with Cabral. He'll be like, oh, you know what? I remember my mom dealt with that in 2001. Let me ask. And I'm like, there's no scenario that I bring up. And when I tell you, I am just so grateful I told him, like, yo, as much as I pay Zion my business coach, you my business coach. Because there are some scenarios that seem so wild and crazy that, like, there's no one who could guide me through this. Something will say, why not call Cabral to see if he's lived through it? He's like, oh, yeah. And the advice, he hasn't missed yet. And it's been years. We've been friends for like 8 years now. The advice that he's given me has been invaluable about how to navigate business. So I just say all that to say, when looking for business mentorship, not even just business mentorship, I think mentorship in general, to not turn your back against someone who might not be making as much as you aspire to, but has lots of experience, because there's so much value in that,
It's also the trap of thinking that people's followers equate to business success.
Speak on it.
And listen, I have been in the rooms where I have been overlooked, and I know exactly why. And it's because, it's, they do like the little click on the cell phone. Who's she? Oh, not that many. Okay. And then I feel dismissed, but I know better. Like there are in this space, especially since TikTok has become so huge, I feel like people start to equate your value with the number of followers you have. But as the business coach I've been working with outside of Tiffany, because, Tiffany has other things to do besides just listening to me all day, her constantly reminding me, like, we don't know their business model. And and a lot of people have even asked me, like, how did your, masterclass go? How's your webinar going? Because I have this huge following. I don't know how to, like, leverage it and how to make a business out of it. So yeah, I love that you said that. It's about that substance, right?
Yeah.
So you got Miss Denise on speed dial, or are you going through Cabral?
I'll be walking into Elegant Eyes like, hey, Miss Denise, can I talk to
She
you?
survived Warby Parker too.
I mean, yes, literally. When you think about what this woman has survived, like, and thrived through, like, I've never gone to Elegant Eyes and it's empty. That place, it's right in the heart of downtown Newark. I mean, I don't think people understand what happened in the 60s. Racial unrest was still here, but it was a very volatile time. And at one point, Newark was kind of like this is where, like, you would go if you were, like, upper middle class Black. And then they killed, I believe the police killed a young Black boy, and the city wasn't, rightfully so, angry. And they basically burned it down. And you had to put in your window Black-owned business, to hopefully survive. And so, and so imagine after the burn down, and what happened was because Newark was also middle class, not just for Black people, for white folks too, white flight happened and they fled the city. And then they took all these resources with them. And so Newark limped along. There was no funding, no money. It was dangerous. And she was still here, or her parents at least. And you think to yourself, and the thing about this, Denise, I'm like, I'm understating how amazing she is. It's not just Elegant Eyes. Miss Denise has owned IHOPs just because she's like, I just want to try a little franchising. Can you imagine a Black woman? And then at one point she owned a couple of restaurants. She's not Jamaican, and she owned a Jamaican restaurant. I was like, just wanted to try my hand. She's owned apartment buildings. Just wanted to try my hand. I mean, can we, I'm telling you, she is my business idol. Because she has taken her knowledge and has applied it to all these different types of businesses and been successful in all of them. And then is still here and still doing so well, still profitable. She's a staple in the community. Like, literally, if you see someone in Newark with glasses, 9 times out of 10, you're like, Elegant Eyes. They're like, girl, you already know. And so I just, I think that, like, the reason why I mentioned it is because I saw a post where a woman who was a business coach and who's been in business for 30 years before she even started coaching, said that she felt really frustrated because the coaches that were doing really well are the ones, who are flashing their Louis bag and their Mercedes or whatever, but they had not had the experience in business before they started coaching. And she just said, it's just really frustrating in this field that like people will literally be like, yeah, but you don't look fancy, so I don't want to work with you, you know? And so it just had me bring it up. So hopefully those of y'all listening will understand that, like, certainly it doesn't mean your business coach can't both look fancy and have the experience, but to choose based upon substance, you know, if you're really wanting to, like, you know, be coached. But yeah, just like, she's literally like my idol. I'm just like, that's how I want to be. I don't want to be like a singular entrepreneur. I want to be like, oh, you know, I want to try my hand at this thing. Or maybe I'll get apartment buildings. Maybe I'll open a restaurant, you know? And I'm like, to see a woman who did this when Black women did not have the access that we have now. It's as much as we struggle now as Black women, imagine back in the 60s. And Miss Denise was like, yeah, okay. And the limitations are, and she still did it. So it's like, yeah, I told her, bro, that's our mother.
We need Miss Denise on the show. I'm making it happen. We got to get Miss Denise on the show.
But yo, she's a tough cookie. She don't let nobody talk to her any kind of way. Yo, these men be coming up there and she's like, because you can imagine what you think that she's like tough and like, yeah, I don't care if that's a man. Okay, bring that same energy. You know, like,
no, she's got to be a badass.
Yes, but just the sweetest and most beautiful woman. So do you want to go? You want to turn on over to Brown Boost, Brown Break? Is it that time?
Oh, I think we need to take a little breaky break first. Let's take a little pause. We'll be right back, y'all, with Brown Boost and Brown Break. Hey, BA fam. Now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. We talk a lot about making smart decisions here on Brown Ambition, but I gotta be honest, it takes help sometimes to actually be in a space mentally where you can make the healthiest choices for yourself and your family. That's why we are proud to partner with BetterHelp. My husband and I have been married for just 5 years, but we have actually used therapy through BetterHelp to help us better connect. Like a pandemic and a baby, those are hard on anyone's relationship. So I love BetterHelp, and I hope that anyone out there struggling, whether it's individually or in a relationship, that you're seeking that help because you really don't have to do it alone. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can help get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/brownambition today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/brownambition. Okay, VA fam, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. That's true when your business is growing fast, and even more true when there's a lot of uncertainty like there is right now. Inflation's running rampant, supply chains are clogged, and the labor market is tight. So what does that mean for margins? The good thing is that not every business is in the dark. As a baby business owner myself, learning my numbers and understanding how to forecast my future earnings and determine my monthly budget, all of that took so much time until I put the right systems in place, which is why we're excited to partner with NetSuite by Oracle, because with their help, over 31,000 businesses know their numbers. NetSuite by Oracle is the #1 cloud financial system out there. So NetSuite helps you identify your rising costs, automate your manual business processes, and see where to save money. Know your numbers, know your business, and get to know how NetSuite can be the source of truth for your entire company. Right now, BA fam, NetSuite is offering a one-of-a-kind flexible financing program. Head to netsuite.com/brownambition right now. netsuite.com/brownambition. netsuite.com/brownambition.
And we're back and black. It's time for, I said BAQ. I was about to do BAQ.
I was about to join you too.
Now it's time to boost or break. Boost or break. Is you gonna boost? Are you gonna break? What you gonna do? Which one will you take? Boost or break?
Yes.
Riddle me this. Do you have something positive, or are you breaking or are you boosting?
I'm boosting.
Okay, then let me go first because I have something not so positive. So I'm like, we're going to end on positive.
Okay, good. I like
it. I am breaking from, so after Jarrell passed away, you know, people really lean in and they want to help you. But now we are getting to the we're crossing boundaries segment of the show. Where literally, I was like, I'm not going to say no name, but they know because this is when I told them, don't come in my house when I'm not here. Don't close no windows. Don't we have family members, not my family. I mean, my family, but like not the Alice side. I'll just say that. Of folks being like, oh, I got the key from such and such. And I'm like, ho.
From such and such who?
I mean,
Alyssa got keys out there.
Sorry,
oh,
Alyssa.
Okay.
No.
I was gonna say
she a kid, she don't know. Oh yeah, you can go ahead and get no. So I have 2 phone calls. So I already made one of them today to say, if I'm not, barring the house is on fire and you have to run in and like, put it out. If I'm not home, I don't care what you need in the house. The only 3 people that could come in here are my sister who's staying with me currently, Alyssa, and myself. That's why I had to tell, I'm like, oh, because I noticed you had left the light on. I got money for the light bill. It'll be all right. I noticed you, no. And so
don't be looking.
Just like, yes, because here's the thing. It's just, because I said, picture me coming to your house and just like looking around. One time I had come back from vacation, my car keys were moved.
That stresses me out.
And I just was like, where is the things will be moved? And I'm just like, oh, no. So I had to have a nice come to Jesus. And I understand the intention is to like, I want to be protective. And I said, you and I are the same age. I'm an adult. You're an adult. And although I love you dearly, don't come in my house. Unless I can, you want me because they have a key entrance there. Imagine me going to your house. Boop, 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 boop. Is that Tiffany? Just walking in. Hey, what y'all doing in here? That would be crazy. And I said, that would be crazy. And it's crazy now. So what if nope. I've given the key to 3 folks, my neighbor, who was also a real good friend, and my other 2 sisters. Those are only, because you give the key to people that wouldn't use it. That's how it works when you give keys. Because it's just oh, I got locked out, or maybe like, oh girl, I'm on vacay and I know a package is coming and these people be out in these streets stealing packages. Can you put it, inside the house or whatever? But yeah, that was just like, and I mean, I know people mean well, but I'm like, when did I become an infant that you have to just come on in and make sure this and moving things around? And like, I didn't ask for all that, although I appreciate like the sentiment. Don't do it. Don't do it. It was just really frustrating because it happened twice for 2 different people this weekend that I was like, I said, I'm about to hit up Liz and be like, Liz, don't let these adults shake you down for the key. Because I know probably Liz is probably like,
Do you have like a Nest or a ring or something like that? Like an automatic lock?
Mm-hmm. No, not an automatic.
But you can still get in with the key.
No, I have a ring. I have a ring as far as I can see you and speak to you, but I don't have the ring where you can. Yeah, and I might get that. Like. But here's the thing. There's nobody here. Like, there's no need. There's really no reason why anyone. It's just that people feel comfortable. I'm like, you weren't doing that when Jarrell's here. First of all, Jarrell would have cussed you out 6 ways from Sunday because he was a cusser. He would have cussed you out 6 ways from Sunday. Like, you wouldn't do that. And the truth is, I picture me getting a list of, hey, Liz, give me such and such key. I'm just gonna run up there real quick and get your things. That would not happen. Yeah. And so like I just think
you're right. It's like the what's that word? Infantilization.
Yes.
Like making you into a child.
And you're like, oh, we got to look after Tiffany. No, I mean, and if I need help, certainly I'll ask for it. But you don't just get to come in and out unless I can come in and out your place. Yeah. And I said, so that's my boundary. And honestly, I feel really proud of myself. And the reason why I mentioned this is because if you would have caught me a year, 2 years ago, I wouldn't have said anything. I would have waited until they did it for the 5th time and then exploded because that was my way. I didn't feel comfortable like setting boundaries with people. Like Mandi and I were just talking. I said, it was like yesterday. And I was like, Mandi, I don't know if I want to I know we were supposed to do like more YouTube lives. And I said, Mandi, I don't know if I want to do YouTube lives in the evening. And then she was like, well, you brought up the evening is best. I'm like, yeah, I did. But I don't know that I want to do it. No, not even I don't know. I know I don't. Because I'm overworked and overwhelmed and I want to pull back some of my time. Because if I don't set the boundary, how would Mandi know? I would just be showing up like, oh, I don't want to do evening time things. But it's not anyone else's responsibility to read my mind. You set the boundary and certainly sometimes people need to be reminded. And so like, I'm like, if I don't say, so I'm proud of myself because Tiffany now is like, it happened yesterday. I'm saying it today. Like I'm setting the boundary. It's definitely with kindness. Certainly, you escalate if people don't listen, but honestly, that's not gonna be the issue here. That's not, I'm not worried about that. It was just more so that like, the fact is that a thing can happen. I can speak on it and then we can move on. But yeah, it was just like, I certainly was like, what the hell is going on? Like, y'all can't just be walking. Can I walk in your house? Child,
I think if you love someone, you accept their boundaries, right?
Yes.
You say no, can't do it. I'm like, okay, trust you, respect you, done.
Girl.
It's a done deal.
Yes. Thankfully, the one thing that Jarrell did that was really great, because he was always so particular about our safety, is that we have these special cut keys that cannot be reproduced at like a Home Depot or even the hood spot. Like if you try to take it to the hood spot, ask me because I know. I was like, can you, so I was trying to cut keys for my sister. You have to literally, there's a company that we have to order them to be mailed in. So there's
okay.
so literally, when it was just myself, Tracy, and Alyssa, those were the only 3 keys. Even if Alyssa gave the key to somebody, they couldn't just secretly make a key and then come in. So all in each
I like
door,
that.
because Jarrell was super anal, that each door has its own separate key. So I have 3 doors, a side door. So if I lose the front door key or whatever, and I have to order my second cut key, I still have the key to the side door if I have to change a lock. So he was always very protective over our safety, which I love, but yeah, and I like that too, because I would be nervous. Like, well, Liz, how many people you gave the key to? Do they have copies? Well, no, they can't, because, hers is the only key. But yeah, I'm going to talk to her again. I'm like, remember I had said, don't give such and such my key.
She's 16 now. She's not a little
I know.
kid
She doesn't know. Yeah. So I'm going to be like, just in general, if someone says, can I have the key? Say, let me ask Tiffany. I'm going to give her that language. Like, hey, let me ask Tiffany if that's okay. Because, in her mind, she probably was like, sure, why not? We're all family. And it's like, hey, we are. But yeah, so that was just my brown break boundaries, child.
Are people starting to ask you, or do you feel expectations to do something I know it's coming up on a year since he passed, which is...
Yeah,
for me, I can't believe it's been a year, but...
I know. Tony actually asked me yesterday, our attorney, Tony, asked me yesterday, because my birthday comes up in 2 weeks, and then she asked me, like, what I'm going to do. And honestly, that's one of the reasons I'm taking November, I'm just, because I don't know I might just say, you know what, I'm going to, go to like how I did with our first wedding anniversary, that I just went to the upstate New York and got an Airbnb. So I want to have the space to decide what I want to do.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I still have not gotten his headstone, just because it felt too real. But I think I finally am ready to do that, just because it just felt like this is really happening. I didn't, I wasn't in the space. So I think I'm going to do that. And I don't know, like I have the month basically off, except for Brown Ambition. The great thing is I can tape this, wherever I'm going to be. I always check if they have Wi-Fi, we can tape. But so yeah, I don't have anything planned. We were thinking about maybe doing a balloon release,
Well, I was just asking in the sense that, like, I don't expect you to do anything, and I would just feel like it would put extra pressure if people were expecting something from you, or like projecting what they think you should be doing, to
I've
mark
gotten
the day.
Shout out to Dr. Green, because I've gotten really so much better at allowing people to have their expectations of me and saying, okay, and. Because old Tiffany definitely tried to live up to everyone's expectations. At one point, I was like, I don't even know my personality. I just shift. I'm a shift shaper. So, like, this is, you need, laughing Tiffany. You need, serious Tiffany. Because it was like, whatever I could do to just get along. I want to be amicable. I'm easy to get along with. And it was just like, I was a super people pleaser, but I did not please myself. And now, I'm so much better at being like, because I'm sure there are people who are like, she didn't get not Brown Ambition listeners, but I'm seeing on Jarrell's family, like, she didn't get his tombstone or whatever yet. Honestly, no. And not to say I don't care, but I don't care. Like, not a visceral, I don't care, but I'm like, whenever if it takes me 3 years, so be it. Unless you want to buy it. Oh, okay. And so, like, I get to decide. I'm feeling very comfortable I get to decide whatever is best for me, because everyone is an adult. The only person that I make a concerted effort to go above and beyond for is Alyssa, because she's a child, and I feel responsible for her upbringing and well-being. But everyone else, I want you to be well and I want you to do well. And I'm here to help if need be, but I'm not here to look after you, because you are an adult. I had to tell everybody that the other day. I'm like, everybody here is grown. You got your bills, you got your own, like, you're grown. Alyssa's the only non-grown one. That is my financial, emotional, deep concern. Like, do I care about everybody? Yes. But ultimately, as adults, we have to make a way and see our way through ourselves. And I was trying to put everybody on my back and do everything. But yeah, so even if people have expectations or want me to do this or want me to do that, people are free to make their own plans. Not my house, but they're free to make their own plans wherever they are. And I am free to decide whether I'll participate or not. I don't know what I'm going to do. Honestly, I might not be here. I might just be like, I'm going to go to Florida, or like, I'm going to go someplace warm, or, whatever. Or I might just say, hey, come over to the house and, and we'll have, I don't know. But I just know that I don't feel the pressure of the expectations as I would have before. That, like, Dr. Green is an amazing therapist. So I don't carry around that guilt with me that I used to carry around. And I know what I love about Jarrell is that, like, as sweet as Jarrell is, he was a badass. He would be like, F them people. And he wouldn't say F. He would, You know, like if he was here right now, Gerald would be like, who is coming in my house? You would get cussed out. Yo, he would cuss you out and then be like, you want some dinner? You know, like that was so like, I just, you know, and so I feel more than fine that whatever I decide, Gerald be like, baby, don't let them, he was like, you always let people roll over you. You want me to say something? I'm like, you can't talk to the brand on my behalf, babe, because you're going to cuss them out and I'm going to be fired, you know? And so he was very protective. You know. Exactly. And so like, I just say all that to say that whatever I do, I know that Jarrell is going to be like, whatever you want to do, that's up to you. I know that. Like my biggest concern is I certainly will ask Alyssa, is there anything particular that you want to do? Well, I'll do this because I know it's like kind of sad, but on a happy note, for Alyssa's birthday, I was trying to figure out what to do for her Sweet 16 so we can switch gears to a happy brown boost, is that I decided, I was inspired by my friend Bozma St. John, because she does this for her daughter every year on her birthday. So I sent her some flowers and the card read, although I can't give you the world, I can help you see it. And then for your 16th birthday, you can pick anywhere you want to go in the world and we're going to go. Ooh. She was like, I know.
Has she chose yet?
Yes, girl, because you know Alyssa is bougie. She called me screaming, ah! Yeah, you already know. First of all, Alyssa is bougier than that. So I told her, I said, because she said, I know where I want to go. Because I called her. I said, did you get your flowers? She said, yes. I said, did you read your card? She said, yes. And she said, I know where I want to go. I said, before you say, don't be basic. Okay. And I was like, don't choose, like, you know, I'm not going to say any countries because I don't want anybody to be mad. Because, you know, but I said, don't be basic. Like stretch and grow. So she was like, I want to do a European tour. Meanwhile, I done told this girl one place in the world. She's like, I want to do London, Paris, and someplace in Italy. I'm like, this. So I said, okay, so we're going to do that. I think probably for, I don't know when spring break is, but that's when I think that's probably the best time, like during her spring break. And like I've been to Paris, I've been to London, I've been to Italy, but I don't know where in Italy. Like I want someplace, you know, that we can spend like 3 days in each place or like 2 days in each place, you know? But yeah, I'm excited to like take her, and she is over the moon.
That's so special.
I know. And so like Jarrell wanted this for her too. Someone told me the other day, despite all the trauma and the grief, Tiffany, I hope you realize how blessed you are. And I do realize that. And not because of material things, but I have some really amazing people, even the ones that be opening my door. I have some really amazing people in my life. I do, you know, I have so many people that really like love me for real, for real. I have amazing friends. I've got Mandi. Y'all don't even know, like when I was on grief leave, how much me and Mandi and I talked for like hours of me just walking on the beach and talking. You know, I never once felt pressure to come back to Brown Ambition. I always felt free, because you have to have a friend that you can feel free to say, when you don't want to do something and not be afraid that they're going to be mad at you because it's quote unquote not what's quote unquote best for us both. And so like, I'm really, really fortunate. And I don't want to forget that despite the loss, I have so much, you know, as it relates to like the people who care about me. And so I can't wait to do that for her. And, you know, I'm like, Lord. So if you guys have any suggestions about if I do London, Paris, where in Italy, or maybe someplace else, maybe it's Barcelona. I'm not good at geography. So I'm trying to figure out what to, you know, 2.5 days to 3 days apiece in each. And like, where can I go?
All my feelings. Aw. Well, we did our whole honeymoon in Italy, so I got some ideas.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. No, that's so exciting. Yeah. I mean, in terms of like the one vision I have of you is at Jarrell's homegoing and being so devastated, but also feeling so, I feel it was like relief. I just knew you'd be okay because the love in the room, the support in the room, you know?
Yeah.
And even checking on you now, which I don't feel like I do that often, but you never know what someone's going through when, you know, you're off, you know, in your own time and things like that, and trying to find the right time to ask, like, how are you doing? And if you're feeling this certain way. And I was like, you know, just wanting to check in and see, but I'm just like, you're so strong. And it's not just like a, what do you call it? Like a artificial strength. Like being strong to be strong because you're supposed to be strong. It's born out of this internal strength of love that you're surrounded with and support and all of the, you know, those relationships that are buoying you. And it's beautiful to see. And I feel like for anyone, we talk a lot about financial resilience, but it's like that, it's that inner resilience and that like relationship resilience, you know, what kind of support system will you have?
I would say like more times than not, I'm going to cry through the night still. You know, because it's still so hard, especially at night, because that's when we like really hung out and talked and laughed. And, You know, like this house is filled with so much love. And I literally can look at every spot in the house. I'm like, oh, that time we painted this part, or we used to sit on the couch and do our like recap. Like one thing that I really love that I do with Terrell now, his twin, is that like after an event, like he doesn't even realize that Jarrell and I would do that. He calls me and then we recap the event and talk about our favorite parts. Jarrell and I used to do that. Like he'd be like, oh, and remember, and then, and we would sit on the couch and do that. I remember the first time Terrell called me, it was after his birthday party. And he called and he said, oh man, Tiffany, thank you so much for hosting the birthday party at your house. And this is my favorite part and this and that. And I just thought like, it's almost like Jarrell sent him to be like, you know, Tiffany and I would normally recap. So go ahead and call her. So, you know, and so he still does that. Like after Alyssa's party, he called me and, you know, we recapped her party about how much fun it was. And I just, like I said, I'm surrounded by so much love, but it doesn't diminish like the grief. But I also know that like, I don't know. It's like you live in two worlds, you know, there's this one part that's like, damn, I'm so sad he's not here. But there's other part that's just like, there's so much life to be lived still. And I really do believe that you meet up with your loved ones one day. And so it's like not the end, you know? And so I'm just like, there's still life to be lived. You're here. So what are you going to do? But like, cause I would hate that, you know, be 90 years old and then I finally pass away at 95 to meet Jarrell. And he's like, girl, you wasted all that time. You could have been having fun. Because now here you are here, you know, you done wasted the last 50 years.
Yeah.
He's going to be
recapping 50 years.
You know? And then it's like, you could have been enjoying. Yes, because he's going to be like, you know, you could have been enjoying because you was going to get here with me anyway. You know? Like, when, like, I was talking to, like, Amelia and Roman, but especially Amelia, and she was just saying, and then Amelia at the time was only 4 or 5. I think she was 4 when Jarrell passed away. And like, I kept saying like, oh, you know, Uncle Jarrell's not here anymore, Uncle Jarrell. And she said, why do you keep saying that? Like Amelia, her sassy self. And I said, well, you know, I just want you to know that Uncle Jarrell passed away and you're not going to see him anymore. And she was like, that's not true. And I said, well, that, you know, it's true. And she said, no, I'm going to see him in heaven. And I asked Carol, you told Amelia that Jarrell's going to be in heaven? She's like, no. And I was just like, I swear kids have this sixth sense, you know? Because she wasn't sad about it. I'm like, you know, Uncle Jarrell's not here. She's like, I know, but we'll see him. And I'm just like, it just gave me like, I feel like
babies are closer to heaven than we are because they just came from there. Like, I think that's, and I'm not a very religious person, but I do believe they were just there. You know?
Yes, and that's what I felt like. That she was basically saying like, girl, it was cute over there. So I don't even know why you're crying because like, if he's where I just came from, sis. So I just was like, when I tell you that the way it gave me such peace, because she was looking at me like, Auntie, like you keep saying it, sis. He's at that place where I was before. It's cute. Yeah, he's not here, but we gonna see him. So I just like, I don't know. Like certainly there's some days when I'm rolling on the ground, and then there's some days when I'm just like, I'm really, you know, I'm happy or at least joyful in the moment. And so, but I don't take for granted just how blessed I am. Like I said, surrounded by and inundated with love and people who care about me. And so like, if you're going through a loss or whatever, you know, I pray for you that you are loved as well as I'm loved with the people who like, you know, check up on me, pray for me. There are people who I don't even know who I know pray for me. They'll hit me on Instagram and say, I was thinking about you today, Tiffany. I just said a prayer for you. I'm like, you know how powerful that is? And I just, you know, it just feels really good knowing that like, you know, I'm on this journey, but I'm not by myself. And grief is something that we'll all have to experience at some point. And it's just made me a more empathetic person, you know?
Yeah. And you're doing it on your own time in a healthy, as best as you can. So proud of you, as always.
Well, this was supposed to be the grief episode. What's your brown boost, Mandi?
I'm gonna skip the boost. How am I supposed to come up with anything after that? I'll boost Rihanna at the Super Bowl.
How do you feel about that, Rihanna doing the Super Bowl?
What is she gonna? I mean, I know she has all these hits, okay, but I'm like, are we gonna get new music? I know we're supposed to give her space to do whatever she wants to do. She's like a Black billionaire, one of the only Black female billionaires in the world. We'd love that for her. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm excited. I feel like it's been a long time coming.
But do you think like because people were mad, like, oh, we're supposed to be anti-NFL?
Oh yeah. I believe that Rihanna wouldn't be doing it if she didn't see the changes that she felt she needed to see. Mm-hmm. I also feel like we have to move there, you know, we have to be able to hold institutions accountable. Mm-hmm. And then like decide where do we go from there. And I feel like we have to find a way forward. Like the NFL's not going away. Super Bowl's not going away. It's a cultural institution. So like we have to find a way to move forward. And I don't think that it should diminish the work that she's done to raise awareness for things like Colin Kaepernick and, you know, like the racism within the NFL and all of that. That's my hot take. And don't ask me anything else about sports because I no say. Yo no hablo. I do not. Yo no say. Yeah. So we'll leave it there. And maybe I'll talk about Chicken Bone Beach next week. But that's another like a little hidden secret that I learned about at the CBC, the history of Chicken Bone Beach in Jersey. So stay tuned, y'all. Maybe on next week's episode of Brown Ambition.
But don't forget, we have another episode coming up this Friday, BAQA. You know, we have every Friday. If you have questions, we have answers. You can just hit us up at brownambitionpodcast.com. Click like the contact us or ask us anything and, you know, submit a question that way. You can DM us on all our social platforms. If you have a question there, we literally compile them all. You guys have some amazing questions. So business, personal finance, career, you know, ask those questions. All right.
All the things.
Until Friday.
See y'all Friday for BAQA.
Hey, BA fam. We're on YouTube. Woohoo! Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel.
And while you're at it, why don't you go over to that little bell icon and just tap that for us. Show the BA fam how much you love us. And that way you'll also get notifications when new videos drop. Also, share the channel with a friend. We're always like, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. And thank y'all so much again for all the support.